So climate change is quite a hot topic at the moment, and a lot of people are weighing in on the debate, and some people are not happy with just debating. They want to actually do something, and so they are quick to accuse those people who are talking about climate change of just talking. So here is my take on this, and I think that this is something that can be applied to a lot of other things. I think part of the problem that we are having as a society is that social media has given us a voice to comment on almost anything, and so it is easy to have a say on something and want to do something about it, but not know exactly how to go about it. And my advice to this, and I've been thinking about this for quite some time, my advice is that what you actually need to do is to focus on what you already know. So let's say that you are a doctor, and there are issues of climate change which are taking place, and there's an argument on climate change. And what could you as a doctor say about climate change without seeming to be an authority on climate change? So what you can do as a doctor is to talk about some of the problems that you have seen, some of the medical issues that have been brought to your attention, some of the medical issues you've had to deal with as a direct consequence of climate change. It could be that you were sent to some place where there was a tsunami and you were helping out. So you could talk about your experiences there, but you can't really try to be an expert on climate science, because then you're going to sound a little bit dodgy, because you're going to say things which are not correct, and people are going to be very quick to catch you out on that. So no one can dispute your experience as a doctor who was working in a place which had been ravaged by climate change or the results of climate change. So what about as a teacher, what can you do? Besides teaching about climate change in the classroom, you could perhaps use your pedagogical training, your ability to teach, to maybe get a few points out there, get a few facts out, not from a professional level, obviously, but from the level of, say, someone who can just put scientific information out. So you could do that. You could do that as a teacher, because that's what you teach. So as a teacher, you can still be a teacher on social media. You can still teach about climate science to an extent that ordinary people can understand what climate science is all about. So that is the gist of my contribution to this, bearing in mind that my friend, who is quite ready to act, as he says, is not really sure how to act, because when you ask the how question, it's a little bit difficult for people to say exactly how they are going to do this, because obviously if you call yourself an activist, all you're doing is just being louder than everyone else in talking about or in raising awareness on certain issues. It doesn't really mean that you're doing any more than anyone else is doing. So there's a danger in that people think that being activist is acting, and just sharing information, knowledge, is probably not classified as acting. But here is my final, as a summary to all this, I would say, focus on what you know. If you're a teacher, focus on teaching. If you're a doctor, focus on medicine. But you can talk about anything else in the context of what you already know. So you can talk about climate change as a doctor in the context of your experiences as a medical doctor or your experiences as a lawyer. You can talk about climate science. You could have represented a company which was being sued for polluting the environment. So that's how you can come in as a lawyer and say what sort of things that you watch out for, what sort of arguments were brought forward and stuff like that.